let's go over it. So I sent you the Zillow thing yesterday, right? That spreadsheet.
Yes, you did.
All right, so let's go over it real quick on how to use it.
Sorry, I'm on my phone. My wife's doing some Christmas redecorating right now, so I'm just.
Don't even worry about it. Hopefully, are you able to see everything?
Yeah, I can see everything.
Okay, cool. All right, so the deal with this now, before I even get started, walk me through where we're at, like in the whole journey, in the whole process, so that I don't dive too deep to where we get lost in the weeds. So how long you been working the system? Are you part of any courses? Are you part of any other groups? Have you been up to?
Yeah, I started the summer, got my first deal really quickly with
Cool.
Paul McComas, and then the past 2 months have been a bunch of deals in the air. Then they all flopped like dead fish. I'm in Pace Morby's group. I'm learning about subject to seller financing, a lot of different things at once. But I don't know. I think you can jump in. I don't know that much about like foreclosure. I was, looking at all the content you have, a lot of value. Already been connecting with some agents on Zillow through just one of those videos with Bianca Marie and your
Uh-huh.
guy. Don't remember his name, but he was just basically like, "This is what you should do to get on Zillow. Talk to some, fix their keyword and search them up. Start calling them. Start just copied down what he said as my script for the agents. Connecting with them today." So
Cool.
yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. The deals that you were working on, when so and by the way, a lot of us have had to pivot in the market. So the good news is that everybody's at ground zero again because the market has shifted on all of us. So when you started seeing a lot of these deal flop, we went through the same thing. All of us did. We're all going through it. So why do you think those deals were flopping, or why did they not pan out into anything?
Um, well, I think some of them beginner mistakes, but also, yeah, because I didn't realize at first like the interest rates changed. So one, it was in Minnesota. I was still working the Minnesota market because that's where I started, and the house, uh I didn't estimate the holding costs into the repair costs, and I just didn't. It wasn't a deal. It was the margins were razor thin, and I held on to it too closely. Some were rural in Minnesota,
Got
and
it.
nobody was interested in those rural markets. With the amount of work, it was too far for anybody to go drive out there and get workers to work on it. Too rural. There was a multifamily portfolio in Georgia, and it wasn't enough. Um, it wasn't enough units for the buyer, and then no other buyer. I've sent it to so many different buyers. Nobody was interested. I didn't really get a why. The cap rates were good. The rent was well below market. Seemed to be a value add, but that one didn't pan out as well. And
Hmm.
one's in
How
New
many units was
Mexico,
it?
48 in three
Wow.
buildings.
And all under one parcel number, or were they set three separate structures?
Three separate structures, but from the same seller.
Okay, so we were doing kind of a bulk, like a bulk portfolio package. I mean, small, but still, it was three different tax IDs, three different parcel numbers, and they were selling them all in one as a bulk package.
We packaged them. My partner had seen that there was a Fannie Mae loan for it's like about I think it had to be about 3.5 million, and putting all those three together made it to about 3.5. And he was the connect with the buyer, and it fell through. Um, and so I didn't know why really. They just pulled out at the last moment.
Huh.
They said it wasn't big enough at like the last moment, like literally like the night before the EMD was supposed to be submitted. Um,
Hmm.
so that's where I learned a lesson
What
there.
what what was the cap rate?
Cap rate was 5.2%.
Okay, it sounds a little high. What I'm noticing is if not ridiculously high, but just a little bit, because what I'm noticing is right now when there's value add, you can probably get cap rates in the sevens, eights. Somebody was showing me one that was like in the 11s. Um, and that one went really quick. Like we didn't even get a chance. Like that one had overbids.
Mhm.
So so yeah, the cap rate may have been a little high. That might have been part of the challenge. But okay, so everything's a learning experience, right? Cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right.
I've
How
been
did you
I've been
get those
tossing
units?
everything.
Is
How
that
did I
direct to
get them?
seller or was that on market?
No, that was through an agent. An agent
Okay.
was putting it out there on the groups, and I connected with him with a partner. So
Okay. Hmm. All right. Do you think that deal's still available?
yeah, yeah, I think they're still available. There's a local guy that I connected with who's in couple syndicates and has boots on the ground there, works with wholesalers in Georgia, and he said they've seen it there and they've passed on it. It's not working for them. It's I forget exactly what he said
Is
about
your
it.
is your local connect is that Abraham?
No.
No, okay. Abraham is a big player there,
Oh,
especially
really?
in Atlanta. Abraham Gray, yeah, big.
Okay.
Very,
Okay.
very well connected in that area.
This was in Roanoke. This was so
Roanoke.
out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, cool. Well, let's it sounds like so you are experienced. So I think really now it's just a little bit about like just tightening it up. Did you want to focus on multifamily or are you trying to do SF single family or does it matter or are we just let's just go where the money is. Let's just make some money real quick. What is the short term versus the long term goal?
Short term is make some money real quick because I've sort of jumped into this fully. Because I was really excited about the first deal and I was like, great. And that was right before the market shifted.
Mm-hmm.
And then, then everything, and then I had a bunch of deals lined like in the air, like a few contracts out and signed, and then they all disintegrated before my eyes. and
Yeah.
then my wife's looking at me
It happened
like,
to all of
what,
us.
what?
It happened to all of us. We all went through it.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's good to hear.
you're in good company.
Solidarity.
Yeah, don't even
Solidarity.
it just
Yeah.
it is what it is. Now, knowing what the numbers are, here's what you're gonna have to do. And actually, I need to start sharing this a little bit more with more people. I haven't been covering this as much as I should. I've been doing a lot of training, but I need people to understand their numbers and what the goals are. So let's assume that you want to do 2 or 3 deals a month. Okay, Mike, let's just say that your goal is I want to close 2 to 3 transactions a month just to get the balls rolling, just to get my feet wet. In order to do that, you're probably going to need at least it's a 30% ratio, 30 to 40% ratio. So you'll need at least 10 to 15 contracts accept accepted in order to be able to close the 3 or 4. Which also means that in order to get the 10 to 15 accepted, it's another ratio of 3 to 4. You're going to need about 45 to 50 contracts out, per month, right? Which, when you break it down, isn't too crazy because then you're looking at about 10 to 15 contracts out per week. So I just had this conversation with somebody a couple days ago, and they were asking me, well, why is the closing ratio so low if it's like 30 to 40% on 10 to 15 contracts that you have, in escrow? And what I explained to people is, well, number one, the fallout rate happens to be a little bit high with a lot of these investors right now, especially if you're doing all wholesale. And number two, if you do inspections and then you try to renegotiate the contract, sometimes sellers won't renegotiate on the price, and so you're just going to have to back out. That's just
Mhm.
part of the numbers.
Mhm.
So knowing that, I just want you to know what the numbers are going to have to be because you're really going to have to send out no less than like 10 to 15 contracts per week, which comes out to like about 45 to 60 contracts per month, which should yield you about 3 to 4 deals closed, or 2 to 4 deals closed per month if you do that right.
That's some good solid numbers that I can hold on to. My issue right now, well, with just those Zillow calls with agents today, is that their sellers want a quick close with proof of funds, which I have proof of funds forms through Pace Morby and through somebody else, but they've been burned by wholesalers and they don't want any no, like, very small option or no option. And so I'm trying to find buyers who are interested already. And some of them are a bit outside the DFW area, but not
Mm-hmm.
too far outside. Um, and the numbers seem to make sense. So right now I'm like trying to find buyers before I get them like locked, because I can't get the contract locked down if they're not, going to give me any time. I can't jump in with no inspection period. Um, so
Yeah,
that's
so okay, so let me arm and make it dangerous then. And I'm speaking to you as like the 26-year broker, right? And I employ agents. I got about 60 under my belt that work for me. So, if they've been burned before, right? What is that conversation like? I have this screen where I'm sharing, but I'd rather see. Uh, let's just stop sharing until I dive into it. So, what is the conversation like with the agents when you get to that point?
the conversation is I'm asking them. I'm like I have your someone who works for you. I forget his name, but I have his script right here. It's like, hey, my name is Robert Nichols. I'm looking to speak with blank. Hi, listen, we never met. I'm calling just because I came across your listing. Do you have a few minutes I can steal from you? I'm an investor, blah, blah, blah. Tell me a bit about the property. I'm looking at the pictures. Parent needs work. Has the seller done any work to it in the past 5 years or so? And then, like, let's say, well, it
So
gets
I've
done.
modified it a little bit since I don't know, you might be using an older version of the script, and that's okay, it still works. But here, normally what I like to do is I want to hit them up with 6 questions right away.
Oh,
So
okay.
so the minute I get on the phone, I do less talking and more questions. So I'll ask the agent. So, hey, Robert, my name's Paul Argueta. Listen, we've never met. I'm calling about 1234 Mockingbird Lane. Is that still available? This
Yes, it's
role
still
play.
available.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Question number one. Number two, do you have any offers on the table right now?
I have a couple offers on the table. Yes.
You do have a couple offers on the table. Okay, fantastic. Just out of curiosity, what are the numbers of those offers? I mean, what numbers are we looking at? Where do we need to be? What price
I
range do
don't
we need to
usually
be?
share the offers with. I shouldn't share the offers with you.
That's exactly what agents are going to say. Fantastic. Okay, no problem. So tell me, do I have to be over the asking price, or do you think I could just I could come under the asking price by about 10 to 15%? Would that make it work?
Well, the seller would like over the asking price, and just so you know, these I have some serious offers on the table with little short to no option.
Got it. Okay. So what you're telling me is you do have some offers right now, and those that are coming in, they have no options, so they've removed their inspection contingencies. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, fantastic. So it looks like, well, look, in this case, if there's multiple offers on it, I that's probably not going to be something I'm going to get involved in anyway. So let's just go back because I don't want to get into a bidding war. There's no need to get into a bidding war in this market. Now, 8 months ago, it was different. I was still submitting offers over ask to try to lock it in because the market was accelerating. Now that the market is decelerating, I'm not going to get into a bidding war. There's no need for me to get into a bidding war. So let's just assume that for the sake of this conversation, you tell me we don't have any offers right now. So we'll
Okay,
go backwards. No offers. So you don't have any offers on the table right now, Robert. Is that right?
that's right.
Okay, fantastic. Now, have you had offers in the past?
Um, we had one, but it was a wholesaler and locked it up for a month, and the seller was really unhappy with it.
Ouch. Okay, so what you're telling me is that you had one offer, but you locked it up with a wholesaler, and then they tied it up for a month. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, fantastic. Now, if the property doesn't sell, I mean, what will the seller do?
Um, he's he's got a lot of money. He's not really too concerned about money right now.
Perfect.
So he's yeah.
Okay, that's great. Now, there's a reason I asked that question. This is how I determine just how motivated the seller really is or is
Mhm.
not. Okay. So
Yeah.
when I talk to the agent, I want to know if they've had any offers, and then I want to know what those price ranges were in. Most agents are going to do one of two things. They're either going to tell me to go pound rocks and they're not going to share anything with me, and they're going to be like, dude, I'm not going to tell you. Or believe it or not, you will get some agents that are going to be like, yeah, we had offers like at, I don't know, 150, but it was just too low for the seller and he didn't or she didn't want to accept it at that price.
Yep.
Now
Yep.
that agent just gave me the ammunition. But see, I don't know this until I ask. So
Yep.
I'm expecting to hear pound rocks, but if they give me the ammunition, that's fantastic. That's what I want to hear. Then the
Yep.
next question I ask is, this is really important, is what will the seller do if it doesn't sell? And again, you'd be surprised. I know that there are some agents that are going to be like, well, it's none of your business, but there will be some that are going to be like, they have to sell. Like they've got tax liens on the property, they need to sell. There's heirs.
Yeah.
Or they'll tell me what you said earlier. They got a lot of money. They don't really care. This is just another property for them. They'll just rent it out. But at
Right.
least that way I know, okay, I'm barking up the wrong tree. This is not the one for me because like I clearly they're not motivated. I want to hear pain. I really want to hear that there's a reason that they got to sell. I want to hear, well, the seller's already moved out of town. The seller's already in another state. They just want to sell this thing. When I hear those things, that's how I know I'm going to dive deeper into it with this agent. When they start telling me they don't need to sell, they don't really want to sell, it's over, I've had agents that will tell me this is overpriced. It's just overpriced and nobody's
Yeah.
going to make them any. And now I know, okay, this agent, the seller's not motivated and the agent is even less motivated to move this. So like, whatever, I'll move on to the next property. But that's why I ask them those questions. I never make offers on the first phone call with the agent because it doesn't go anywhere, especially if I'm going to come in at a wholesale price, ever. It just doesn't work. So what I tell the agent is, okay, thanks for sharing all this information with me. I don't have an agent. Would you feel comfortable representing me? Yes, no, great. Okay, I'm going to crunch my numbers tonight. I may call you tonight, or I'm going to give you a call tomorrow, and then we can go over the offer terms. Is that okay? Great. And then I call them back and I give them whatever the offer terms are. That's usually my strategy. Ideally, I want to be within 60% of ARV, minus the repairs, minus my fee. My fee is no less than 15K on a wholesale deal. And that's just our minimum standard here in the office. So here in the office, everybody that we work with, I tell them, look, nothing less than 15K, that's your minimum fee. Now, I have a calculator that I think I sent the link to, but if not, it's not a big deal. I can send you the link. I put it on the group, but I can also
Yeah, I
just
saw
share.
it on the group.
Yeah. So this is the calculator that I use. And then, well, right here, I said that I wanted to make 25 on this deal. So these were numbers on another deal, but you can punch in whatever fee you want. So we just, but I tell everybody, like, your minimum should be no less than 15. If you can make more, fantastic. Go after as much as you can make, but minimum should be 15. So ARV is, my maximum allowable offer is ARV times 60% minus repairs, minus my fees, and that's the maximum allowable offer that I'm going to give. Based on my experience right now, that MAO has always come around like 50% of the list price. Okay, that's just where it ends up.
Yeah.
So and again, knowing that, I don't reveal that to the listing agent on the first call. And then on the second call, I basically come in and I say, look, this is what I can offer. And 90% of the time they're gonna be like, that's not gonna work. There's no way, it's just too low. I get it, no problem. So where would you recommend that we start then? If you know that my number is X and the seller wants Y, where do you recommend? And I wait to see what the agent says. So I'm going to give them my offer, and then, they're going to give me what they would recommend. If I can get somewhere in between 60 to 70% of the ARV, I'll probably write it up and I'll work it. If they're still pushing me to 80 to 90%, then I'll try to convert it to creative. So,
Yeah.
and I've covered some of this. I don't know is there a particular property that you might want to look at, or do you want me to just pick one out
Yeah.
of it?
Oh yeah, I do. Most definitely. So where's my Zillow? Okay. Right now let me see which one. What is this? Yeah, Farmersville. Yeah, this one. So it's 204 Candy Street, Farmersville, Texas. And this is the one that she got burned by a wholesaler. And it's been cut 44K. She doesn't want to go too much lower than the list price.
All right, so let's analyze this. Did she tell you what it was in escrow for?
What it was an escrow for?
Yeah, and what was the accepted offer by that last wholesaler? Did she share that or no?
Oh no, she didn't share that. She
Okay,
wouldn't. I asked.
smart man. All right, so I
ARV was like 305, I think. 325. Wait, what did I put that?
okay, so it's a little more rural than I like to be. I know Farmersville is a city, but there's a lot of green. I tend to prefer to want to stay in the white, but
Okay.
that's the first thing.
That's a good point, because I mean I tend to go, like, if I see numbers that I like, I think I just too I go after deals that maybe I shouldn't be, and I'm wasting my energy on
And I've
saying,
done the same thing. We just had to cancel and back out of a deal that we had over in Vermont in a town that was only like 40,000 people, but it was
oh
small
yeah,
and there just wasn't enough sales activity. So
well,
anyway,
well, since your time is really valuable, why don't we go over here to 6007 Delroy Drive, Dallas, Texas? That's
Del Rose,
Delroy, Del
cool.
space ROY. Sorry. Because
That one's also
this one she said that the seller doesn't care, doesn't has a bunch of money, but like they said they want to rip it down because a lot of it's $1 million houses in the area, and like I was like looking at the pictures, like looks nice. But she's like, yeah, but have you seen the other houses? I'm like, look at the comps. There's like $1.6 million house, $3 million house. It's like, okay, interesting.
all right. 44 days on Zillow. So I'll check the map real quick to see where this is at. All right.
And I have a connection that does a 721 exchange.
Uh-huh.
And I was wondering if that would be work for this seller because they might, she said that he wanted to sell to put into 2 different properties. So I was like, well, you might be able to get more money with a 721 exchange. You just transfer the value of this house into their portfolio of multiple houses. And she didn't know
Oh,
what.
I forgot.
What?
Zillow, we have to use Privy because Zillow is not show the sales prices because it's a non-disclosure state.
That's why. Yeah, I've been using PropStream.
Yeah, I use PropStream's fine. I just happen to use Privy. All right, so it's just going to change a little bit of the way that I look at things, but let's take a look at it real fast. All right, so here's this. Let's see the comps real fast. Let's look at the comps. All right, so here are my comps. So I've got one at 880 right down the street. And this, but see, that's the only problem is that it gives me comps that are like 6 months ago. I need something recent. I tend to prefer that everything be within the last 14 days. I really don't
Oh,
even
14
want,
days.
for
Okay.
sure. I don't want them that new. So here's one that sold, but this is the one that she's talking about, the $3 million one.
Yep.
But it's only 1993 square feet, so I'm not sure if that even, like, to me, when I see this, what that tells me is that it may have been a bulk sale. Like, there's no way this house would have sold for 3 million, just that house. So I think what happened is that this one ended up selling with multiple houses, and then they all combined them for one price. Yeah, when you see a price that's like this and it's just completely out of whack with everything else, that's what you're looking at. I mean, look, it's everything else is like 1,000,009. They're all roughly in the same, universe. But then you've got this one that's like 3 million. And what happened is that 80 to 90% of the time, those are bulk sales where it's like multiple properties that all sold for one price. So let me take a look at this. And this is active though. See, I don't care about active. I want to know what let me remove this. Let me see if I can zoom out and find other comps. Because I'm thinking, here's this one for 880. So this one looks like this was also an investor. $845. Let's see that one. Yeah, so I mean, I personally, this isn't a flip, I don't think. Maybe it is. Is this a flip? Let's see previous sale. The previous sale was 2016. So this wasn't a flip. This is just a nice home. So my gut instinct tells me that a really nice home is still going to sell for 845. How big is Delroy?
Delroy
20,
is
2284.
yeah.
2284, and this one is 2132, 4 bet 3. This is your comp right here. So I
Okay. Well,
mean, so 845 is what the ARV is. I mean, even if you flipped that house, I couldn't see it going for more than a mil. I just don't. I mean, more than 900, and I don't think that. I think 900 is stretching it. This is a nice home, and I think 845 is kind of your top of the market right now. So 799 sounds more retail. See, they started at 8 something, right? And I
yeah,
think they started at 8 something just because of some of this home. This one sold for
875.
yeah, which makes sense. They were basing it on this.
Yeah.
So the ARV on it, it's yeah, I mean a wholesale deal on this one's not going to work. I already
No.
know it's
Yeah, it's down to 60% of that ARV is
yeah, you're
507.
ready. Look at that. So we're ARV is 845. Rehab, I think it's going to be I mean, it looks like it's a light rehab. Um it's just dated. I mean, if I got to bring this up to 2022 standards, this is probably, you know, a $35-40, let's say $35 job. So already 80,000 just to remodel.
So you
So the
just
rehab,
estimated that $40 per square foot.
yeah. So what I do is, if it's a lipstick, just flooring and paint, it's 25 bucks a square foot. If it's a remodel, right? If it's a remodel, so the bones are good, the walls are good. I got to remodel this thing. Then I usually do it's between 45 to $55 a square foot. I'll use about 40. And if it's a gut job, then it's 75 to $85 a square foot. I'll probably go around with 80. So this isn't a gut job, but it's about $40 a square foot times 2,300. Yeah, wait, did I calculate that right? How many? 20, is it 2,300? 2,300. So yeah, I mean, it's about 80 to 90 in repairs. I always overestimate repairs and I always try to underestimate value. So my
Yeah.
repairs are always higher and my values are always lower. And that makes it more attractive to the investor because when the investor goes in there and then they find out that the repairs are less, then it's better for me. And then when they find out that my RRV was, I undervalued it and they can actually get more money for it, it's just easier to sell. So I always underestimate the ARV and overestimate the repairs. So if we're looking at 845, I got to get this even at, look, yeesh. So even at 640, they're still losing money. 540. So for a wholesale deal, most investors want to make about 30% return. So I might be able to squeeze this up to 560. And that's too low. So 550 is roughly where you'd need to be in order to get this and make a 15K assignment fee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right?
and he's not motivated to do that at all. He's
Yeah.
just yeah.
So if I was to try to convert it the other way though, and so I say to the seller, okay, so let's do this. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what I'd like to do is I'd like to bring this home up to 2022 standards. All right, it's a great home. It's a fantastic home. It just looks a little dated, right? Maybe in the late 90s, early 2000s. So if we fix this up, this would be worth 845 if I got it up to those standards. I'm thinking it's going to cost me about 90 in repairs. So if you put a lien on this for about 700,000 and I give you a $25,000 down payment, no, that won't work either because the buyer's losing money. So I created this so that I can do it's kind of like a novation, right? Where a buyer gives the seller a down payment. I have the seller give us a few months, typically about 6 months of no payments, right? I call it like tenant improvements. So for 6 months, no payments, but from month 7 through 12, we'll make you payments of whatever we agree to. Then I'll try to offer you as much as I can in the form of a balloon after a year. But this gives us some time to fix it, get it up to standards, sell it, pay you off, and then the buyer can make money. But in this case, when they resell it, the commission's paying everything off. They're still gonna be short. So it would have to be something like a balloon of 600,000. And even at 600,000, the buyer's making 55 after paying everything off. Their cash on cash return is about 30%. So their net profit is about 55. Their buy-in, their entry fee is going to be it's 180. They got to cover the down payment, your assignment fee, closing costs, repairs. See, commissions actually don't have to be in there, not in that spot. So their buy-in would be 138 buy-in, and they'd net 55, almost a 40% profit. The seller would end up getting 634 if they did this way, right? Because they'd get their lien, they'd get a down payment, and then whatever payments we agree to.
And is that a
So,
normal down payment percentage of like the buyers would be like interested in?
so a normal down payment would be, so it shouldn't be more than 5% when we're doing this when we're trying to create a creative package for investors, because investors can go to any bank to get, anything more. They can get 10, 15, 20% down. So the best way to attract an investor to make it more attractive to them is keep the down payment as low as possible. As 5% is probably the best that you can get. But again, to an investor, remember that if they go this way, they don't have to get a hard money loan. And if they get a hard money loan, they're going to have to pay points. In this case, the points would save them $11,000 because there's no hard money. They don't have to pay that. They don't have to make monthly payments to the hard money lender, right? And the hard money loans are pretty expensive. On a loan like this, you're probably looking at about a $6,000 a month hard money loan. Knowing what I know, to the investor, this is a cool deal to them, because all they got to come up with is the down payment, the assignment fee, closing costs, repairs, and then put this property on the market and then sell it within a year. And if you can negotiate this right for 6 months, there's no payments. Right now, if I had tried this at the beginning of this year, that wouldn't have worked because there were too many buyers, right? But when there's not enough now that the market is decelerating, people are more open to creative terms like this. So what I tell the agent is, look, here's the thing. If we do this and I buy it all cash as an investor, I'm only going to be able to offer you $550,000. But if we get a little creative and the seller's willing to work with me because they're not in a hurry to sell it, they're not hurting for money, I can probably get them about $634,000 if they just work with me. And you get it? And so I'll give them $25,000 as a down payment. They give me a few months of free rent, free mortgage for tenant improvement. Months 7 through 12, I'll make them monthly payments. I'll balloon them out at the end of the year, $600,000, and by the time we're done, they would have made $634,000. So right now they're at how much? They're at $799. Yeah, or they can just lower the price and try to sell it to a normal retail buyer and drop it to about $725. And then you could sell it to a mom and pop. Because I think there's other properties that have sold for that price. Yeah, there's a 718. Let's see this one. And the agent knows that too. The agent knows that there's a property there. Look at this. If you want, you can just sell it to a normal seller, a normal mom and pop. This is a perfect example of it. And they'll pay $718 for it gladly. So agent, you can get the seller to drop it to $715, or you can sell it to me for cash at $550, or you can sell it to me for $634.
Gotcha. I guess the second option wouldn't work on this one because I just remembered that they have a tenant that's going to be in there, that's still in there until May, I think.
Tenant is in there until May. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So they have somebody leasing it, and they're trying to sell it with the tenant?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, that would be tough.
Yeah.
Well, but in theory, now you kind of understand what it is that, you give them options. You tell them, like, look, this is how I can structure it. I can get you a little bit more money, but that's probably the best that we can do right now. Yeah, then they're never going to, okay, so check this out. They will never be able to get even 720, because if at 720, the normal mom and pop that's going to buy this to live in there with their family would expect to move in right away. So you're definitely not going to get 720. On the creative side, it still might work if the tenant is still living in there. But then the tenant's paying the rent. Who are they going to pay the rent to? Yeah, I'm not sure. That one's a little sticky.
Okay.
But in theory, you get what I'm saying now.
Yeah, No, definitely, definitely. But so basically, I mean, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna stop looking at these things rural. I've got this
Yeah,
one that's
no
a
rural.
studio. Yeah, no rural. But I've got this one that's like a studio in Frisco. It's obviously it hasn't sold for 118 days because it's a studio. All the comps are 3 bedrooms. Nobody's
Yeah.
buying a studio
So that's
for
another thing.
380,000.
Yeah, I probably would avoid that too.
Yeah.
I'd stick to bread and butter. Bread and butter is 3 bed, 2 bath, 1,100 square foot to 1,500 square feet. That's
Yeah.
kind of like, those are the everyday homes that are bought and sold all the time. 3 bed, 2 bath, 1,100 to 12 to 1,500 square feet. When you start getting beyond more than 2,000 square feet too, it also starts to get harder to sell, just because the cost to rehab them starts to get so much more expensive. So personally, my wheelhouse is that's my criteria. 3 bed, 2 bath, 1,100 to 1,500 square feet. I'll do it, as high as 2,000. I try to not go beyond 2,000 because, like I said, if it's a gut job, you're looking at 150,000 just in repairs, and that's where the investors start to get really scared when they got to float that much money.
Right. When you say I'll buy it, like for me, as you know, I'm an investor, but I'm using wholesaling, and I obviously don't have the funds. I have a partner, or I have somebody who who's going to buy this. Um, when you say I'll buy it, does that mean you guys actually purchase properties? Your
Oh yeah,
company? Yeah, you guys
yeah.
are all buying.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we got our last two flips just before the market changed. We got hit too. We saw close to 60K on each deal just get vaporized just because the interest
Wow.
rate. So when I speak, I'm actually speaking from like experience of like, okay, now I know what the investors are going through, not just because of what they're telling me, but because we went through the exact same thing. And I'm still seeing on the MLS, if you go on the MLS right now, you will see that there's a lot of flips that that they're selling them at a loss. Like I can tell already, just knowing my numbers. I'm looking at it. They bought it a year ago. They probably had to put about 100 to 120 in it, and they're upside down. I mean, the ARV is still there. The value is where they'd like it to be, but based on what they bought it for, and based on what it cost them to fix it up, plus the cost of commissions and all that stuff, I know that they're losing money.
Mm. Mm.
In Vegas, like I see Open Door all over town, just losing the hemorrhaging deals.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. So when I speak to agents and sellers, should I be saying like I'll take this as an investor, I'll take this? Because I mean I know that I'm not, but is that how I should be speaking from
All
that
right,
perspective?
cool. Okay, so in the spirit of maintaining integrity within yourself, right? Because nobody wants to teach someone to go out there and lie. That's not what I want to
No.
do either. So to maintain that personal integrity, what I want you to say is, and be confident when you say this is, look, I'm an investor. I have multiple strategies here. Okay, so I buy them, fix them, flip them. I buy them, fix them, keep them as rentals, or I buy them, fix them, bring on partners, and then I may sell it to them even before we close escrow. So I don't know what my exit strategy is going to be quite yet, but I'll tell you that that's what we do. That's just part of our business model. And so when I share that with the agents, number one, I know that you're saying to yourself, I don't necessarily have the funds, but speak from the perspective of like, okay, so you've got me as a business partner that will help you if you come across a good enough deal.
Yeah, I find it easier to say like we buy them, fix them, flip
Yeah.
them, like we, because then it's, I'm being quite honest. Like we do that. I work with people who do that.
Yep.
So
Yep. That's
yeah.
and that's at least that way you're being honest and you feel better, as opposed to, hey, I may be getting this to wholesale.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's always better just my group, my investment group. Right now,
Mm.
if it just so you know, if they ever ask, well, who are you guys? Do you guys have a website or anything?
No, no, no. I've just connected with people through Facebook groups and stuff.
Cool. All right. So you can send them, look, this is part of my team. I do business with them, and you can use our website. It's called the Goya Group.
Are you guys looking for, people to
All
add
the
to your,
time. All the time. Yeah, all the time.
because I would love to join.
Yeah. We'll talk about, you know what I'll do is I'm going to put you in contact with, actually, did you talk to Eric or Edward? I'm not sure who, because I know it sounds like you spoke to somebody, but what we'll do is, yeah, let's schedule a brainstorming session so we can do like an onboarding and I can go over all this stuff. But that way you have access to like our articles or proof of funds, all that stuff. And and you just feel more confident when you're like, look, boom, here's all the stuff it's corporate.
Yeah,
So this is our corporate page, and it goes over all the stuff where we buy. They can contact us, our toll-free number. We can get you a corporate email and all that stuff. But then we also have our disposition side. So this is our dispo side. Dispo Dragons. So yeah, absolutely, man. I can definitely make sure that we talk after this call about how we can get you on there and start submitting those offers. And then we can make money together. We go over the numbers.
that would be awesome because that's something that would be much more consistent. And also, like I like what I don't know if it's Eric. I was just listening to the video. He was speaking with Bianca Marie, and he was saying like they split, like they break it up into categories. Like acquisition,
Yeah.
like lead generation, acquisition, disposition, and like they split each of them 33%, but they're all working on each one, and they get like 5, 6 a week or a month, but still like you're all working together and you're getting a lot more done together and also in an
100%.
organized team.
You should have seen how stressed we were a year ago. Because what was happening was I'd get a deal, and this was me, and I'm experienced. I'd get a deal, be excited. I'd stop everything I'm doing. Now I got to sell the deal. So I stop what I'm doing, and then I start promoting it. I'm calling buyers. I'm pitching it to all these different people. And then finally the deal closes after about 60 days, and it's cool. I get paid, but now I'm back to zero, and I don't have anything else in the pipeline because everything that I was doing to get that deal then was put on pause because then I had to sell it. And so that's how eventually we got to all together and we just decided, okay, let's figure out a way where we can just create an assembly line and everybody just focuses on what they're good at. And that's now it's running like a machine, but it took us a year to like figure that out because all of us were independently doing our own deals. And yes, we were making money, but it was stressful. We were a little discombobulated, you know what I mean? Now
Yeah,
there's
there's
a definite structure. It's like a symphony.
right, yeah, because everybody's harmonized with their energy. Because before, like I would think from what I'm seeing, like everyone's spending so much energy on each part, and then like blasting it on the Facebook groups and Craigslist, and then you've got just multiple
Yeah.
people all like back and forth. I'm talking to 50 people a day, and it's like half of them, nothing happens. Waiting on people to get back to me, and nobody's getting back to me, and they're like, "Come on!" Like it's
I've been there.
love what you're doing. Yeah.
I've been there more times than I care to admit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. What I'll do is I'll make sure that we schedule time, get you onboarded, get you a corporate email, all that stuff, and then we can map out a game plan
I
going over this
really
number.
appreciate it. You have no idea how much I appreciate that.
No, I'm excited, man. It's good to hear. Okay, so let me do this. I need a favor from